Corruption is like a ball of snow. Once it's set a-rolling, it must increase.
Conscience is God's presence in man. Bribe giver and bribe taker are both doomed for hell. Evil events from evil cause spring. Evil often triumphs, but never conquers. It is impossible, in our conditioned society, not to be sometimes a snob. The duty of youth is to challenge corruption. Corruption is like a ball of snow. Once it's set a-rolling, it must increase. Corruption, the most infallible symptom of constitutional liberty. In a state where corruption abounds, laws must be very numerous. Communism is the corruption of a dream of justice. The corruption in reporting starts very early. It's like the police reporting on the police. Corruption is nature's way of restoring our faith in democracy. People talk about immigration, but they won't talk about the corruption that actually exists. Peace is the happy natural state of man. War is corruption and disgrace. Evil has no substance of its own, but is only the defect, excess, perversion, or corruption of that which is substance. The corruption of people is to behave in an inhuman way. Corruption, the greatest single bane of our society today. Democracy must be built through open societies that share information. When there's information, there's enlightenment. When there's debate, there are solutions. When there's no sharing of power, no rule of law, no accountability, there is abuse, corruption, subjugation, and indignation. Corruption is the enemy of development and of good governance. It must be got rid of. Both the government and the people at large must come together to achieve this national objective. Money and corruption are ruining the land. Crooked politicians betray the working man, pocketing the profits and treating us like sheep. And we're tired of hearing promises that we know they'll never keep. There is no compromise when it comes to corruption. You have to fight it. Corruption is a cancer that eats away at a citizen's faith in democracy, diminishes the instinct for innovation and creativity, already tight national budgets, crowding out important national investments. It wastes the talent of entire generations. It scares away investments and jobs. When you don't take a stand against corruption, you tacitly support it. Fighting corruption is not just good governance. It's self-defense. It's patriotism. In the real world, as lived and experienced by real people, the demand for human rights and dignity, the longing for liberty and justice and opportunity, the hatred of oppression and corruption and cruelty is reality. No science is immune to the infection of politics and the corruption of power. I weep for the liberty of my country when I see at this early day of its successful experiment that corruption has been imputed to many members of the House of Representatives, and the rights of the people have been bartered for promises of office. Corruption, embezzlement, fraud, these are all characteristics which exist everywhere. It is regrettably the way human nature functions, whether we like it or not. What successful economies do is keep it to a minimum. No one has ever eliminated any of that stuff. Corruption happens because there is impunity. That's the reason why corruption is widespread at all levels, from the person who asks for a bribe on the street to those who hold prominent positions. Those who fight corruption should be clean themselves. When I saw corruption, I was forced to find truth on my own. I couldn't swallow the hypocrisy. The main reasons for the growth and institutionalization of corruption are a culture of secrecy with lack of transparency, and weak institutions for securing the accountability of public servants, such as the vigilance bodies, the criminal investigative agencies, and the judiciary. Corruption, the greatest single bane of our society today. A vibrant civil society can challenge those in power by documenting corruption or uncovering activities like the murder of political enemies. In democracies, this function is mostly performed by the media, NGOs, or opposition parties. I see corruption as a mortal enemy for young democracies. To confront criminals, we need to finish with corruption. If we don't do this, there is no hope. Corruption is a true enemy to development. When you see corruption, when you see injustice, you speak up. You don't just shut up and say it's none of my business. The government is so out of control. It is so bloated and infested with fraud and deceit and corruption and abuse of power. The first sign of corruption in a society that is still alive is that the end justifies the means. Corruption is nature's way of restoring our faith in democracy. Corruption is just another form of tyranny.